morning, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geoawesome Talk. I'm really delighted to have Sahana Murthy, Chief Product Officer at Regrid, with us today. Sahana is going to be talking to us about the latest product that they have launched and what this means. So welcome, Sahana. It's nice to have you here.
Hi, Muthu. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. We love working with Geoawesomeness at Regrid. So anytime you give us an opportunity, we are here. So really excited to be first talking to you, but also through you to your very large, wonderful GIS audience, but also to be able to give a little bit of an insight into our Regrid feature service product. So all excited.
Awesome. So before we talk about the Regrid feature service, could you shortly introduce Regrid to those of us who may or not know your service and what you do, and maybe also shortly about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So Regrid, we are the leading land parcel and location context data provider for maps and spatial analysis in the United States. So you'll often see me using the word nationwide parcel data. When I say nationwide, it basically means coast to coast United States coverage. And by land parcels or parcel data, we mean in the United States, property information and the actual boundaries and the shapes that form a property or a land parcel is popularly known as parcel data. Can be confusing in other parts of the world. In the United States, it's either referred to as cadastral data or parcel data, and also more colloquially known as property data. So we are primary collectors of nationwide parcel data, which means we collect data from close to 3,200 counties and designated county sources. We clean it, we curate it, QC it, and standardize it into our parcel schema. So it is standardized, normalized at a nationwide level, so you can work with data at scale. So you can query at scale, and the data is normalized everywhere, because typically the data that we receive is disparate, different from county to county, state to state. So really the work that goes behind it is in standardizing it. And we are a leading provider of this nationwide property data. And we have about over 120 fields in our parcel schema. And it includes, of course, the geometry, because that is what we specialize in, is the spatial part of the data, which is the parcel centroids that together form the boundary or the shapes of the parcels. And we provide this in both delivered files, API, in mapping tools as a spatial platform and mobile app, and most recently in an Esri-Compatible Feature Service solution. So that's what we do. And I am the Chief Product Officer at Regrid, so oversee all of our products and product management, how we build it and how we take it out to the market, depending on what the customers are asking for.
Fantastic. So, I mean, I've been following Regrid for many years now, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. So it's easy for me to understand it. So let me try to summarize it. So Regrid is basically the leading service provider for standardized parcel data in the United States, right? That's your core business. And what makes it so valuable is the fact that, like you pointed out, there are more than 1,000 counties. And if each of these counties have a different data format, it gets very difficult for data scientists and people who don't really want to be working with so many different data formats to work and to generate insights. And this is where you come in. This is where your service comes in. And the latest feature that you're launching, and this is why we are today, the Regrid feature service. So what is that all about?
Yeah, so to quickly, thank you for that great summary. Exactly, that is exactly what we do. Parcel data is public facts, government facts, and technically is available to the general public, but it's very disparate. The same column name, something like owner name, is called many different things in different counties. And it's about 3,200 counties, so close to sometimes 4,000 sources, because the varying degree of the sources changing between different parts of the country. So providing that at a nationwide format is where the value is, because we've normalized the column names and the fields. So that way, no matter which part of the country you're looking at the data, the column names will remain the same. So you can query at scale And this is especially helpful for companies. We are predominantly at the data side. It's a B2B business for us, right? So it's really, very helpful for companies that have use cases for location intelligence projects that require multiple geographies. So think about last mile transportation, energy, renewable, solar projects, windmill projects, utilities, engineering companies that need site selection for their next site. Insurance is a big one, flood risk is a big one for them, disaster relief, climate change, and then academia and research, and of course, real estate, of course, is like a resident vertical. The one that we are talking about today, the Regrid Feature Service, this was a labor of love that we have been working on since 2020. I think, Muthu, when we first started engaging with Geoawesomeness, when we first connected in 2020, I remember talking to you about, we were building an Esri-compatible solution, but it was a labor of love. This is basically us providing our nationwide data to companies that are completely centered on an Esri stack. So there's a simple plug-and-play solution that loads up our nationwide parcel geometries directly into the Esri stack. So the three main parts of the Esri stacks that we wanted to be compatible, because that allows us to be compatible with everything else that people build on top of those, are, of course, the desktop software, ArcGIS Pro. Their ArcGIS Online, and their development tools, so JavaScript API and SDK. So we wanted to make sure that we build a solution that allows anybody in the GIS community that works in companies, because it is a B2B solution, that uses parcel data that can just be simply integrated or plugged in using a URL. There isn't even a need to use an API token for a technical integration or any sort of data wrangling. See, typically with our bulk delivered files, which is our most popular, highly demanded offering, is bulk files that we provide in multiple different formats, from GeoJSON, GeoPackage, to even most recently Parquet. That requires, and it's a spatial data set, right, of nationwide 3,200 counties. It's a humongous data set that requires a lot of data wrangling, a data engineering team. There are storage costs attached to it. You have to create an ingestion and an update workflow, an ETL workflow, before you can actually start working with the data. And that works for most of our customers because they have a data modeling use case that needs to go through those processes. But if you're a company that works primarily out of Esri, all of your products and other data points are already loaded into Esri, and you would like parcel data to be loaded into it, you're not necessarily looking to do all these other steps first and break down the data and then load it separately into Esri. You would like something that can be easily plugged into Esri, and that's kind of what we were looking to achieve with this, is make it easy for our GIS community in the B2B space, that all they have to do is nothing technical. They just have to take a URL, load it as a layer, and it's literally a blast of parcels because it's a nationwide layer that gets loaded into Esri. So as you start panning through the map, the parcels will load up everywhere. So it literally data at scale. If you are a nationwide land conservancy company or a land conservancy, basically you have your soil data, water data, you want parcels on top of it. And you can just do queries at scale. If you're an engineering company, you want to look up parcels by acreage in Metro Denver. You can do that because you can geo-bind it by a city or geo-bind it by a state, or you can just do a nationwide level query. And you can, so all of that right directly in the Esri environment of your choice, without any additional costs or time. So it's really faster time to market because the parcels load up within a few seconds of adding that URL. That's how easy and simple this is. And we found that a lot of our customers who primarily worked out of Esri wanted this because they didn't always have the time to do all the data wrangling first, and not always have the right kind of technical stack to do the API integration and the vector tiles and the raster tiles on top of it. So this one is just like inbuilt. It has everything, just goes and becomes a blast of parcels directly into Esri. So that's an easy way of describing this product.
So in a nutshell, it's all of the awesomeness that comes with the standardized parcel data inside the Esri environment, the three stacks that you mentioned, the ArcGIS, online, desktop version, and all of their developer tools without having to do any kind of further configuration or coding. Of course, it sounds a huge improvement for those of them working inside the Esri environment. And you touched on it a bit. You said it took you roughly 2 years. So what was really the challenge behind developing such a solution and delivering it?
Yeah, so the 2 years, we weren't always actively working only on this. So it was like the germ of the idea began in 2020. We first started to like ideate and figure out how shall we go about doing this? What are the right ways we can build something like this? But the challenges were really like, you know, I would probably answer this in 2 steps. One, our parcel data itself, the primary product comes with it a lot of challenges, right? So we deal with local government and county sources, you know, 3,200 counties is a large number. We have 3,190 counties that we have data for. Literally, the only counties that we don't have data at this point for are the ones that are still digitizing their parcel data. You know, so they still have the maps. So, you know, that itself comes with its own challenges of, you know, one, updating the data we have, you know, the 3 C's, the 3 pillars of our data set, as we call it, is coverage, currency, and completeness. So we have to constantly keep working on all 3 of them, adding coverage where we don't have, and then keep updating the data we have to keep it current, and then adding more location context to the data we have so that it is more complete of a solution. That itself comes with it a lot of data automation and export pipeline challenges that our incredible data team is excellent at doing. We're only 30 people as a company, you know.
Quite a few. You've gone quite a lot.
Yes.
Congratulations.
That's right. But with this particular product, I think the challenges were more about the unknown, right? We as a product company, we have ownership on our own products and our IP. When we are building a product that goes into another product, you know, that is foreign to us. I mean, we are all familiar with SD, we're all familiar with ArcGIS, we've all used it. Using it and building a product for it are 2 different things. And I think the challenge for us was the unknown, like what are the things that might not work when we build this? Can this product handle everything that gets thrown at it when it's inside the Arc environment? You know, I think that was the both fun part of it and also a challenging part of it. So to overcome it, we had to do this in multiple phases. So we did a really small proof of concept for one geography. Ann Arbor, home place of Matt Hampel, our CDO. So we tried to just do it in one geography first, make sure, and we tried to throw a bunch of different things, see querying at different levels, querying at scale, geo-biding it, and then trying to see if it's going to handle all of that. And then we started building it to the nationwide layer. With the nationwide layer, we had to make sure that they were schema specific. You know, we had to index all the fields to be schema specific, and then throw a lot of different things at it. So there was a lot of stress testing that we had to do, but we also had to do a lot of compatibility testing, because Esri tool universe is huge. They have so many tools on top of the 3 stacks. And we obviously expect our customers to be using all of them, right? If they're hosting apps on ArcGIS and configuring them, they're going to use a bunch of those tools. So we had to do a host of compatibility tests to make sure that, you know, whether it's web app builder, the experience, story maps, like this actually can be compatible with all of that. And there's still going to be this evolution, right? Because Esri is constantly improving and evolving their products, and we have to continue to evolve with them to stay compatible with them. I think that is the challenge, but it's also the fun of it, which means there is no dull day, you know, so yeah.
Definitely not. It kind of seems like quite, you had to overcome quite a big challenge to get to where you are today, but it also certainly opens a lot of doors, right? Esri has a huge business network. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of users behind this environment. So how has this impacted your business so far? Has it enabled you to get new customers, or is it more satisfied the existing customers that you have? Could you maybe share a few thoughts on that?
Absolutely. It was actually a combination of both. This was a request from our existing customers, right? A lot of our customers, that had a GIS team that worked only on Esri, but they also had an AI machine learning team that did data modeling. So they could, in the meantime, work with our bulk files, but they kept asking if we could get them something that was Esri compatible. So what the solution has done is really helped us reach that huge audience that works primarily out of an Esri stack in a more confident way, in a way that we are able to serve them a lot more better, make our products more compatible, make it easier for them to work with our data without adding more costs and challenges for them along the way. And also so we've actually been able to get a lot of new customers. This has become one of our most popular asks lately, because I think there were a bunch of them who were waiting for when this would probably come out. And once we launched it in June, we've had a lot of people reach out, and it's definitely caught everyone's eyes, I would say. But also, it's deepened our relationship with Esri too. So we are now a certified Esri partner. We exhibited at the UC. We are displaying and listing our products at the Esri marketplace. And we've sort of always been long-standing fans of Esri, and now to actually deepen the partnership and work with them and be able to serve them is like a full circle for us in the GIS community.
Yeah, certainly sounds like the perfect growth story. As somebody who's been having the pleasure of watching Regrid grow and having interactions with your team on a regular basis, I know how important this is, and I know how hard you've been working on this. But I do want to look at the future now.
Yeah.
So what's in your roadmap? What can we expect in the coming months, maybe a year from now?
Oh my God, such a timely question, because just this morning we went through the roadmap with the sales team to kind of let them know what 2023 is looking like. So 2023 is going to be bigger and better in terms of everything we've done so far. I think we added 125 counties, new ones this year. And at this point, we really have the highest coverage map. So we're going to work on currency next year, make sure our data is really, really current. Adding, so we have some really new additional matched data sets coming, just like the ones we added last year. So parcels plus matched building footprints and parcels plus matched, secondary addresses. So similarly, we have a couple of matched data sets coming through. But for me personally, I'm very excited to now offer all of those matched data sets through the feature service. So parcels plus nationwide matched building footprints directly into your ArcGIS, parcels plus all known addresses into ArcGIS. So really just getting bigger, better, and also hopefully building more than just parcel data, like, trying to add newer forms of data, newer ways of, deploying the data, like adding more formats, more ways of consuming the data, and also growing our B2C business, right? One of the things that keeps us so rooted is our roots began in democratizing data. So we still provide a nationwide free viewer, right? That's kind of our ode to the open source community and open source GIS community, the free viewer, so you can look up free parcels anywhere in the country. But we want to grow that further. So we're right now in the midst of launching a big update to our mobile app so that people can do more as they keep moving around, look up parcels and do more location intelligence work on their own phones. And also, grow our Data with Purpose program, which is our nonprofit and academia support program. So we can support more use cases like the ones we did this year for climate change and Climate Central, through the Data with Purpose program, so we can have live use cases of parcel data being used for disaster relief, for research, and all of that. So that's what the 2023 roadmap is looking like, is the data is going to get bigger. We're going to add newer data sets. Everything will go into feature service, so we'll be able to serve the Esri community better, deeper relationships with Esri, but deeper relationships everywhere else in the data space as well.
Cool. So probably going to be called Regrid Feature Service Plus.
I know, it plus.
plus. There was quite a lot to unpack in the last couple of inputs that you provided us in terms of Regrid Feature Service plus, in terms of working more with Data with Purpose, in terms of what this even meant for you and your team to launch this feature service in the first place. what would your key message be for the audience? If there's one thing that you would like them to remember at the end of this episode, what would you like them to remember?
I think first and foremost, we are a very accessible team, and we have tried to make sure that different use cases, different companies have different needs and different scales at which they operate. And we have tried our best to provide United States nationwide property information, including spatial data, the shapes, and associated, property tax assessment information up to 120 fields in as many accessible formats as possible, depending on your use case. So if you're a modeling company and you need the actual files, we provided as files in multiple formats. If you are working out of a technical stack or an app or want to build beautiful maps, we have API and vector and raster tiles. If you work out of Esri, we have the feature service. But if you're a B2C and B2b who, GIS analysts and folks who actually work out of a spatial platform, we have the Regrid Property app, both as web and mobile. So we've tried our best to kind of provide our solutions to different audiences and different scales in different ways. So what my only takeaway or my only message to your audience is, don't shy away from reaching out to us. We have a B2C solution. If you want a small, $10 per month subscription, we have a free viewer. But if you're a large company or even a small company that requires nationwide data license, delivered through cloud or SFTP or API, we have a solution for you. So don't hesitate in reaching out to us, because and even if you're a nonprofit, we have a program even for that. So we want to make sure that we really are that accessible company. And literally everyone on the team is just like this, like very friendly, open to having a conversation. We have a very thriving B2B business and a B2C. So my message would be, reach out to us if you have a need for parcel data, whether it's by the county, by the state, or by the nation. We have a solution for you. So we just want to see more use cases. And as a product person, nothing gives me more joy than seeing our products being used in live use cases, no matter the size or scale.
I can completely understand that. So essentially, you've, let's say, accomplished the first task of standardizing parcel data in the United States. Now you want to work more and more on the part which actually started you off, which is the democratization of the parcel data. So I wish you the very best, and I'm sure a lot of people who know Regrid over the years know that your team is a very accessible and very friendly team. So I'm also looking forward to seeing more use cases, more products being using your Regrid parcel data, and see where it goes. So Sahana, thanks a lot for taking the time and walking me through Regrid Feature Service and what this means, and also some of your new initiatives in 2023, especially on the lines of data with purpose and so on. So really excited. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Muthu. Always a pleasure. And thank you for giving the opportunity to actually talk about this product that I'm so proud of. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was all mine. Thanks.